Well, we did it. Route 66 from Chicago to LA. 28 days, 4 adults, 1 dog, 1 cat, all in a Winnebago. This video documents our trip in the fall of 2021, and it shares some info and history that I hope you'll find entertaining and helpful too if you're planning a Route 66 trip yourself. Oh, and if you are planning a Route 66 trip, check out the link in the description to visiting66.com. I got a ton of free info on there to help you out, including a Google map with all the places that are in this video and like literally hundreds more things to do and see on Route 66. I think it'll be really handy for you. But this video is all about Route 66 in Texas, so let's get to it. Texas gives us the good stuff right away, because right when you get into the town of Shamrock, you hit the U-Drop Inn. The iconic U-Drop Inn. This Art Deco masterpiece is beautiful. Built in 1936, it was a gas station and a cafe, and you might recognize it from the Cars movie. This was the inspiration for Ramon's Body Shop. And inside is the Route 66 Visitor Center and a nice little cafe where you can get a tasty sandwich and some soda, and you can even sit in the booth where Elvis Presley once sat. Oh yeah, it's a great stop. Heading out of town, there's a good recreation of some Burma Shave signs along the road. Next up, we got the Devil's Rope Museum, which is a tribute to barbed wire. It's actually one of the finest barbed wire collections in the world, so I'm told. There is a lot to read about barbed wire here, almost too much. It's kind of overwhelming. But housed in the same space as that is the old Route 66 Museum, which has got some good artifacts from Route 66 Texas businesses, including this automobile P card, which I'm still trying to figure out. Down the road a bit, you can't miss the Leaning Water Tower. So here's the scoop, it's not a mistake. They moved the water tower to this location in 1980, and this thing was designed so that the center water pipe would be beneath the surface of the ground. But the new owners thought it would just be too expensive to do that, and they liked the gimmick of this thing leaning. They thought it attracted more attention, which it sure as hell does, because we're talking about it right now. But I just love the look of this thing on the horizon leaning like that, it's awesome. Next up is the VW Slug Bug Ranch, which is a tribute to Cadillac Ranch, which is coming up. We're going to learn all about it. But you can spray a little spray paint on these guys, or if you don't have any like we do, slap a bumper sticker on them. Then we made it into Amarillo for the night and stayed at the Cadillac RV Park, which is actually quite cool. They have a muffler man and some ungraffitied Cadillacs. The next morning, we did some exploring around Amarillo and found out that the city actually was and is the helium capital of the world. They produce about 90% of the world's supply of helium. So we drove by the old historic Amarillo helium plant, which in the 30s furnished almost literally all of the world's supply of helium. And they actually have the 6-story structure that celebrates the centennial of the discovery of helium in the area. And when it was erected in 1968, they actually collected articles to create 4 time capsules. The last of them is not even supposed to be opened until 2968. In that last capsule, they put a $10 passbook savings account at a local bank, which is supposed to be worth at least $1 quadrillion by then, assuming the bank and money still exist, I guess. And then, of course, for lunch, we went to the Big Texan Steak Ranch, which is just awesome. It's got such a good vibe. There's a huge fiberglass steer out front. They got a great sign, and inside is this awesome 2-story dining room with a bar and a shooting range and a gift shop with a live rattlesnake. And you can get yourself a free 72-ounce steak. That's right, free. But that's only if you eat the entire steak with a baked potato, a salad, and a shrimp cocktail in less than an hour. Since we're not insane, we didn't do that, but still had some pretty decent steaks here. Really just like a super fun place with like a classic gimmick that you see in the movies. Next up is the can't miss Cadillac Ranch. Kinda in the middle of nowhere, you drive by and you see these 10 tail-finned Cadillacs just sticking up out of the horizon. It's awesome. But this wasn't actually the original location. They moved it in 1997 when the land it was previously on became pretty valuable. And look, these things are covered in spray paint. That's what everyone's doing here. It was super muddy when I was there, and I wanted to partake in the spray painting too, so took my shoes off and waded in that mud. But the spray painting wasn't an original intention. One of the artists who originally designed and built Cadillac Ranch said that he kind of wishes the site was more protected and people wouldn't litter and spray paint the cars, which I kind of agree. It'd be cool to see these kind of more pristine, but look, you're here, just embrace it and do it. They're already painted. Have some fun. Heading out of Amarillo and down the road a bit, you'll stumble upon the Magnolia station, which is a really cool restored 2-story gas station, inside and out too, which is cool. You can take a peek inside and look around. They've also got some cool old original barrels of gasoline, because before gas stations, they just had to ship barrels of gasoline, and this guy just kept those behind his general store, and customers would come around and fill up their automobiles using a hand pump. Pretty cool old stuff. Nearby there was a Route 66 classic, Dot's Mini Museum. Unfortunately, this seemed to be totally closed and almost non-existent anymore. I'm told this used to be a massive collection of treasures and collectibles from all over Route 66 by Dot Levitt, but unfortunately she passed away and it seems like her stuff just isn't holding out. However, you can go and still see the famous boot tree which is there, which is very cool. It's a bummer, but just a good example of how Route 66 is always changing and evolving and shrinking and growing. Next up in the town of Adrian is an important milestone for any Route 66 traveler, the halfway point. Welcome to the middle of the road. We did it! We're there! Halfway. Here's the midpoint line. Here it is. Woo! Oh yeah, it's exciting. They got the midpoint line painted on the ground for you. Even got a nice little photo op across the street. And you could check out the Midpoint Cafe, which I'm told has some of the best pie on Route 66, but unfortunately, they were closed when we went by. Down the road, the last town you'll find in Texas is Glenrio, which is just basically a ghost town. There's only a couple people living here, and a bunch of old abandoned, ruinous buildings of unknown identity, but you can get out and kind of walk around, so they are kind of fun to explore. You'll also see the remains of the Little Juarez Cafe. The Pixar guys recreated this exact building in the Cars movie. It's just briefly seen in the background, but it's actually called the Glenrio Motel. Isn't that crazy? Alright, buckaroos, that's it. That was Route 66 in Texas. Thanks for being here. But don't worry, the fun's not over. We're headed into New Mexico. So go ahead, click the subscribe button if you want to stick around for when that one comes out. Oh, and don't forget, all the places in this video and more are on the Google map at visiting66.com. Make sure you check that one out. But that's all I got for you. Thanks for being here and watching, and I'll see you in New Mexico.